What's up, it's your guys over here at Afterthought, and we got a question for you. Is college necessary? Well, let's see what they think.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. My parents expected me to go to college.
Yes, my parents did expect me to go to college.
Of
They
course they
said
did.
they said either I'm going to college or I'm getting kicked out the house at
Oh yeah.
18.
Is it a college or failure?
Honestly, yeah, my parents expected me to go to college, but I feel like nowadays, if your parents didn't go to college, they shouldn't expect somebody else to go. Because we can take the same career path they did, or either find a better way of getting that money, which is the main focus of life nowadays.
I will say from personal experience, my parents did expect me to go to college, and that's simply because of the fact growing up, I was a straight A student. I was in the magnet program, excelled in the magnet program, and I can speak for both of us when I say that because both of us grew up and went to the same school together. So yeah,
Yes,
there
sir.
was
Yes, sir.
definitely a high expectation of us, and one of those is definitely go to college to get a good job. So yeah, but I can't say that for everybody because not everybody sees that for their kids, unfortunately. And to go back to what you were saying about how parents who didn't go to college shouldn't expect their kids to go to college, because it's 2023 at this point, and there are ways to get the bag without a college education. And people whose parents who grew up in the old ways, who have the textbook, mindset of you got to go to college to get a good job. That's the only way you're going to get a good job. They are stuck in that way where people are making millions off just being on the internet or being an entertainer, where a college degree isn't very necessary. So, yeah.
Even though my dad didn't go to college himself, he went through a little bit of like an associate's degree, but his main thing was a photographer. And then my mom, being from Jamaica, completely different, education being her way of getting out of that kind of environment, poverty, things like that. She always wanted me to go to school, and they both put me through private school to better prepare me for college. So they kind of started me off on the path as soon as they could.
Growing up, I actually didn't even realize there was an option to not attend college. I thought that part was mandatory, but you may or may not graduate. It was very important to my grandmother as well, being a college professor. And when she and my grandfather graduated from college and earned their master's degrees, they were literally able to take that to the bank as a down payment on a home.
I wish that would have been nowadays.
Shoot. If it's like that, bro, then I'm going to college too. Sign me up. High school was easy. If I could put a whole down payment on the house just to get the college education. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's 2023. That just don't fly no more. College, that's the problem. That's the problem. School doesn't guarantee money anymore. That's the problem. That's the
Especially if you
problem.
pick a degree like art. No offense to people that pick art degrees.
The problem with college nowadays, for real, is that it doesn't guarantee money anymore. And the ones that guarantee money have a low graduation rate or are just very hard to pull off. Like, if you're getting a college education on something as simple as, like, I don't know, like computer aided design or like finance or something, you're looking around the $30,000 to $50,000 range, which is just enough to skate by. But you got to take into account that people who are going to college are probably trying to take care of their families. They're trying to make sure they get out for other people. So that's not enough for everybody. And not everybody is built for that. Like, not everybody is meant to be a chemical engineer. Everybody wants that high degree money, but not everybody is like suit up for that. And it's kind of just, it's ugh.
My dad was always the type of person to say, get your degree, I don't care what it's in. So I always felt a little bit of flexibility about what specifically I wanted to do. And that's why I kind of took community college as a time to try a lot of different things and see what I'm interested in and not break the bank. My name is Pam and I'm pro-college. The main thing that I feel like I missed out on by going to community college first was that I wasn't given the opportunity to pursue leadership roles in like clubs or things that I was a part of. There is a bit of a stigma with transfer students that you're not, you weren't there on campus long enough. I encountered a lot of people who would discuss feeling imposter syndrome or feeling like they weren't good enough to be at a school like UCLA, that they couldn't do as well as the people who had been there all 4 years. And I definitely felt that feeling sometimes as well.
Damn, what college you went to?
UCLA.
No, I'm saying what community college to make her like they ain't have nothing going on.
I know for the one we go to, I'm not gonna name it because I'm not doxing myself. That one, mostly you can get your degree like 100% online. You don't even have to go to the dang campus, for real, for real.
But she stayed on their campus.
What she's saying is, if you go 2 years community, right?
Okay.
And then you want to transfer to a bigger school, those people aren't gonna look at you like they're equals. It's like, I've been here for 2 years grinding my butt off, and you went in their eyes would be the easy route, right? You went the easy route. So why would I give you the same respect I would give myself? Because I took the high road and you didn't, or at least that's what she's coming off like.
I get it. Okay, I get you. I get what you're saying, but still, I mean, I'm just saying. No, I get it.
Can the disagreeers step forward?
Ooh, this should be interesting.
Okay.
Okay, look.
There was no expectation.
Okay, look. You know, it's a coincidence. The coincidence, right? You saw the coincidence.
There was no expectation for me to go to college whatsoever. So it was really my personal decision to go. I saw a lot of poverty like in my community, in my neighborhood. And so how do I avoid this situation as an adult? There was no plan B for me. So it was like, you know, if I don't do it, I'm going back to my hometown and I'll be working at a factory somewhere, or I can do it and, you know, see what happens.
College's use of affirmative action is problematic.
You got this one?
Affirmative action is defined as a set of procedures designed to eliminate unlawful discrimination among applications, remedy the results of such prior discrimination, and prevent such discrimination in the future.
Basically, college is discriminating.
All right, so to basically explain what affirmative action means, because I feel like we didn't explain it well enough in the video. Affirmative action is basically where colleges sort of exempt people or let people in based on their discriminative properties, such as their race or their backgrounds and stuff. Basically trying to pander to the lower class by letting them in, even though they may not necessarily qualify. Basically, colleges trying to make sure they don't look like the bad guys by trying to include more of the minorities or the people who are struggling, kind of just trying to make that case. So yeah, that's basically how colleges use affirmative action. I just had to explain it like that. Let's get back to the video.
My personal experience with affirmative action, when I went to the PWI, I was chosen pretty much based on affirmative action. There was a lot of heavy marketing, hey, come to our school, come to our school. Affirmative action can be problematic in the sense that when these students reach campus, there is no place for them.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they have clubs, they have other people that they could reach out to, but it's more like once we get you in, you're on your own. You got to figure out by yourself. And I also think it's being problematic when it comes to society, because now you're having a lot of white Americans saying that the only reason this person got into this school was because of this reason.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like that comes with the challenge of being in college, is to find yourself, find a certain group that you feel most comfortable to be in. You just don't want to come in and be programmed already to be in this certain group with these certain people that you already know. I mean, you're out here in the world to meet new people, new opportunities, and get new challenges.
No, that's a really good point, though. It's like they make it easy for everybody to get in, but like they never account to maybe some of these people aren't built for this. Like that's not put into account. It's just, we'll get you in, but once you're in, like, figure it out. That's just another thing that feeds into the thought of, colleges just want your money at the end of the day. Like that theory. I know most colleges actually want to help people get college prowess, get jobs and stuff. But most people think, oh, they just want your money. You can learn all of this online. And I feel like that mindset kind of fuels that fire.
I mean, I understand that they just want your money and they just throw you in there, but I also feel like that builds character.
When I was down and the college was taking all my money, it just motivated me to work harder. Now I'm $1 million business owner.
Come on now.
But guess what? You're not hearing the other story. They too busy working.
Okay.
Especially private institutions, these Ivy League schools, certain types of people attend these schools. If you don't necessarily fit their standards, then once again you can be ostracized from that group. I feel like colleges support minorities depending on where you are. For me personally, I'm from Baltimore. There were opportunities for minorities. Of course, it's a majority minority city. If I was in another state that was maybe more conservative or predominantly white, I do feel like I would not have had as many opportunities.
I get what she's saying from the social aspect. Going to a PWI, there are more scholarships for minorities such as us black people. If she did go to like a HBCU or something, I mean, everyone, is kind of in the same playing field, pretending with the diversity. I can see how it worked in her favor to go to that PWI.
Meritocracy can't exist in the same place where you have nepotism and legacies and all of that. But there's always some sort of an action involved in getting people into universities. I personally know someone who attended classes at a certain Ivy League university with a future president. And he was a terrible student, but of course he got in because he was legacy and his family donated a building. So, and that's how you become president. That's America. Affirmative action is good to give people an opportunity who wouldn't otherwise have it.
I think the intention is good, and you can't speak to intention when the system looks the way it does.
We also have to factor in the aspect of finances and money and schools making money. And when we're talking about intention, yes, there might be one professor that's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. But that doesn't speak for the entire university. That doesn't speak for the board. Is the intention to give us minorities an opportunity, or is the intention to not hear complaints?
To boost their numbers, boost their diversity levels.
Why?
See, I can't lie though. She is right. I can't lie. My English professor, dab it up every day. He dab me up just like that, and he white. I'll be like, yes, sir. But I can't lie. My art teacher, bro, she work at like another high school, so this is like her second job. She ain't even care about this job for real. She didn't care about nothing we had to say. She just gave assignments, work, and then just didn't even care.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Some people just want money, and some people just really want to push the next generation in the right direction. So, for what she said, retweet.
Well, I actually think about it differently. I think affirmative action, definitely works against nepotism, and I feel like if it were no affirmative action, a lot of black students wouldn't be able to go to PWIs. And so I agree that, once you get there, there is a difficulty being a student of color on a predominantly white institution. With that position, it also was the other side that would say that same thing. They would say, we won't let you in because you won't be a good fit here, because you won't fit the culture. And that's the way that they would use to bar people from being able to go. And so, I won't say like it's better for them to turn us away because they don't have the resources. Like, let me get there and let me figure that out for myself.
KT preaching.
W rebuttal. That's a W rebuttal. Because you gotta think about it like this. When the question is, would I have gotten into the school if they weren't trying to people please, right? That's also cool, but you're getting in. As long as you're getting in, you can get the education and all that, right? But his point is, I'd rather them try to people please and me get in instead of them not caring and I don't get a chance at a college education at all. I did not think about it like that. That's a good rebuttal.
Now that you watered it down, I do see what you mean. They are giving the opportunities for us, and I can see where we wouldn't be able to get in if they was like, oh, I don't know,
You're a little dark for me. Me personally, I know my best friend's black, but
maybe you lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I also will say, like, white women benefit from affirmative action more than any other minority group. It's not necessarily about, students of color specifically being allowed on campus. It's about, minorities being allowed.
A degree doesn't qualify you for most jobs.
If I get a degree in English, I can't go work in a math class.
And the workforce is set up to where people who don't have college educations can still get jobs. It might not be the highest paying job on the planet, but yes, it can be something to put food on the table. Your side is like, yeah, if I get a degree in art, I can't go be a scientist. Yeah, of course. Like, this is a weird question. And then on the other side, there's, I don't need an education to get a decent job because you can always do labor. Labor, when you don't have an education, labor always overpowers. So
I think where we're seeing the world currently go in terms of the job market is a lot of employers are hiring for experience. They're hiring to see, do you know what you're talking
Ooh, I forgot
about?
to bring
And
that up.
that's where I think internships really come into play. And that's why a lot of college students are going for internships. Is they're
I've asked around the workforce before I even like apply for college. I was like, all right, I know somebody who works here, I know somebody who works there, and I'm asking around. I'm like, all right, which one do they value more, my degree or the experience? And literally all of them said experience. So, and most workforces, they're not gonna care about your education. If you have the degree and you can't do it, if you can't do the task, then what's the point of the education? They want to know that you actually know what you're doing, regardless if you have an education or not. If somebody's diplomaless and they can do your job better, they're just gonna pick them because why would they bother messing with you? It just doesn't make sense.
Can't lie, that's wild. If somebody that don't got a degree in what you went in for can do it better than you, that's
I
wild.
mean, people can just go out on their own. They probably have a relative or a father that has that education that can teach them everything they know and they learned over the years in the work field. There's also YouTube. There's also courses you can pay for. There are many ways to get the education without the degree. So it's like, yeah, I can see where they're coming from.
no employer is going to turn you down if you're like, hey, I have all of this experience, or hey, I know how to do exactly what you're hiring for, but oh, I didn't go to college for 4 years.
Most companies don't take the time to like read that resume. They feed it through a machine. If you talk the talk and know certain people to jimmy your way in there, you don't really need the qualifications to do the job. People who have the qualifications don't get the job.
I've been job hunting over the last couple months. I started like a spreadsheet where I was putting how many of them are asking for X amount of years of experience. Almost all of them were college degree needed. I still even got like maybe 3 or 4 for every 40 that I applied to.
I'm originally from Miami and I used to work for the county and I used to work for social events. And now that I've moved here, it's really hard for me to transition towards the same field because I tell people, hey, look, I used to run football tournaments. I used to host food drives. But because I don't have a degree in marketing or in event coordination, people, like you said, when I put on Indeed, they say, hey, you need a degree to get in. But because I don't have that degree, I'm not even allowed in the door.
Colleges do nowadays, they do assign you jobs to your certain, occupation that you're looking forward into. Like, I'm going into chemical engineering. They got a bunch of internships with like Airbus and mostly like stuff for that field. So I'm good if I need experience or any internship.
Yeah, I will say most colleges will set you up with internships and job opportunities. Like you said, if you don't know somebody or aren't affiliated, it's going to be really hard to get that job. Like what you said, degrees are basically gatekeeping. So yeah, if you don't know anybody who works in your field, college is 9 times out of 10 your best route because they're going to get your foot in the door.
All student loan debt should be forgiven.
Yes, please.
No,
Please.
no,
Please.
no,
Please.
no.
Please.
Think about it like this. What about the dropouts? Do they just get, what is that? Just a free trial for them? Huh?
Okay, you're right. Maybe the people that finished school
Yeah, that's
need to get
because
forgiveness.
keyword all. They use the word all. That's why I was like, no, right? Because obviously, in dang near any situation in the world, it depends. If you really like got your degree, I feel like there should be a threshold to where loans should be forgiven. Like you should hit this benchmark, you should hit this benchmark, and boom, college debt is gone, right? It will encourage people to actually pursue their college education and actually have them a goal because it's like, I just want the degree so I can get into the field. That's how most people think. But if you give them these goals, right? If you give them these benchmarks to hit, they'll be more strive to hit because boom, I'm going out of college debt free. Like I feel like that would make sense.
I mean, they could do it. You know how college got the 4-year plans. People that finished their 4 years, they can forgive those. And then, after the 4 years, then, that's your debt. You pay that.
I just don't agree with the word all.
It's crazy to me that you go for 4 years and you are paying off hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and you might actually meet all of the payments and you still have like double to pay. A really popular payment plan that we've been seeing, Purdue University started doing this. It's called income share agreements. So instead of paying for your degree up front, if college actually helps you land that job, you start to pay a small percentage of your salary over the span of a few years. And after 5, 6, 7 years, whatever percentage you pay, great. If not, and you're not making a lot of money, then like the college actually failed you in helping you get that career that it was supposed to in the first place.
I like that. It puts accountability on the institution where it should be.
Absolutely.
Not the borrower.
It's very easy to be like, well, in like the Nordic countries, you pay $5 and you get your degree. Like, it's easy, but it's different here, and it has been, and it will be unless some big change happens. But I don't know what that is. I don't know how do we address the millennials who went through college and have racked up billions in debt, and how do we change it to make it better for our future generations too?
And I really think it should be canceled just because of the pretenses in which the loans were actually given out. I'm like, it's literally the definition of predatory lending in terms of, giving thousands of dollars to someone with no credit score. Yeah. And so, when they get those loans and they don't really understand, like the interest is racking up, and then 6 months after you graduate, and whether you have a job or not, you're going to have to start paying them back.
Oh, his sheet.
Why, y'all? What's going on?
My disagreement is in the way that it's handled. There's this particular scam which is widespread. People have gotten caught up in other scams, and those are not just immediately forgiven. I do understand that it's kind of like it's a different situation because of how much pressure was placed upon you getting into this scam, even governmental pressure as well, which is why, they bear some responsibility in it.
I was a victim of one of these scams. I took a few loans out, and then my last year, I didn't have enough, and so I took a $5K loan, and that one was the worst one. Like, what held me back from stepping forward was the word all. Some people might have taken out that loan, gone to college, and now they're making tons of money that they can afford to pay it back. If somebody's capable of contributing, then why wouldn't they? I'm Daniel, and I'm anti-college. I took a lot of different classes while I was in art school, and I gained, I guess, a wider set of skills than my other brother did. The thing that felt unfair to me was that it cost the same for us to go through college, yet I got a better return on my schooling than he did. And he still has to pay the same amount that I was having to pay. If someone's unsure of their career path, is it worth them going hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt when they don't know what they're going to do with their life?
Then just don't go to college.
College
at that point.
campuses are radicalizing young people.
For those who don't know, the textbook term of radicalization is the action or process of causing someone to adopt radical positions or political or social issues. All right, basically in watered down terms, the question is, does college encourage people to be woke? Yeah, let's see how they feel about it.
I hesitated at first because I was interpreting that as the universities influencing people, but I don't think that's the case. I think people who might have certain beliefs are going to college and just spreading it to their peers. So in that regard, I would say college campuses are contributing to that.
When you see a headline and you see that a college is pursuing this or it's agreeing with this, I feel like it has a lot more damage towards the story, as if the school is promoting this type of behavior. And I feel like because they notice that a lot of people are getting a lot of attention for those specific schools, it's like, okay, let's give them more incentive to do it, because it's helping our name get out there.
If you're not, in these spaces where you're hearing a lot of arguments from every side, it's easy to be like, well, that doesn't apply to me, so why would I care? I think for me, at least being in a college environment, I was forced to see these things and more exposed than I would have been if I hadn't gone.
When I heard the word radical, I paused it for a second because I think it has a negative connotation just in the media. And so I feel like when you hear people say radical anything, you're okay, that sounds like something bad. I feel like it's really the education. They're learning more about the society and about the history of the government in America. And so that does sometimes make you angry and makes you want to speak out and, become an activist for a certain topic or position.
In my mind, though, it's no different than what algorithms are perpetuating on social media right now. If you're on Twitter, you're going to be following people that are within your space, and you're going to be seeing that content. And I think that's actually playing more of a role in radicalizing and doing more in the political space than.
I do just want to say, just because they both do it doesn't mean one of them is less bad. That's like, he's like, when you got in trouble, it's like, why did you eat my food out the fridge? He did it too. It's like, then okay, does that exempt you from what you did? No, it doesn't. So yeah.
Throw somebody under the bus.
Me personally, I grew up in a conservative Christian household. Growing up in those environments, I feel like radicalization, it really starts at home. It starts with what your parents tell you about people. I think that when we get to college, we're in more of a free space to voice these opinions. And even on social media, there's also a level of anonymity, so people feel more comfortable sharing certain viewpoints. I feel like these things start at home and they're just pushed more to the forefront once you get a little older.
Colleges prioritize making money over providing quality education.
Of course, they want the best thing for their schools. What do you mean?
Yeah, at the end of the day, colleges are for education, but I feel like 9 times out of 10, they're education second and business first. Like if the money's not flowing in, people can't get their education, so money has to be first. It's from a logical sense, and I can't necessarily be bad at it, but the negatives.
As someone who works at a college, and it's a business first, and I see that firsthand, I think it really does come down to the bottom line for a lot of institutions in terms of them making money. And so they will make certain decisions in terms of, what will allow us to make more money, what makes us look better as an institute versus, necessarily the care of the student being the primary concern.
The teachers that I had at community college were no better or worse than the ones at UCLA, sometimes better. They were nicer, they were more approachable, smaller class size, more classes available in community college. When I got to UCLA, I thought, there's one class and it's only at 5 p.m. Are you kidding me? How am I supposed to make a schedule about that? So I kind of realized a lot of things when I got to UCLA that this is not exactly what I thought it would be.
The college that I graduated from, they had a heavy focus on freshmen. It was all about freshmen. Bring in more freshmen because the graduation rate is already so low. Freshmen bring in money, freshmen are there the whole year, and then if they stay, they stay. If they don't, they don't. They were changing all of the dorm buildings to freshman dorms so that only freshmen have housing.
Can you talk about the quality of dorms too?
Oh,
for the
trash,
tens of thousands of dollars you're paying.
Terrible.
What is that? How does that make sense?
For context, me and him both go to college, but we go to do completely different types of colleges. He goes to a full-blown university where I go to a community college. So let me ask you this question because I feel like everybody's thinking this. Do you think all the money that went into being at that school is being spent on you? As in all the money you threw out, do you feel like you're getting the full benefits of that money?
I feel like I'm getting some of it, and personally, most of it's gonna go to the future generations that come up into this college, because I can see them, they just bought the new stadium, and then really it's just, the building I'm in now is freshman only, which is crazy to think about, that she said. That blew my mind. I was like, dang, I do get what she's saying, because this building and the next one, which is just as big, maybe even bigger, has just freshmen in it.
So yeah, when you're put in a situation like that where you're pouring out thousands of money, it's hard to feel like all of your money is being properly spent on you, because in actuality it's not. So I can see why they can feel that way.
Also, when you look at public institutions and you see the salaries, 90% of the time you're going to see that the highest paid person is a college coach. And that'll show you where the actual money is going to, and it's like millions of dollars more than every other person that works at the institute. My name is KC. I am pro-college. College was an opportunity for me, definitely, with the ability to lift me out of poverty. I grew up in a single-parent household, raised by my mom. And so I think that just the ability to go to college and earn a degree set me up for higher paying jobs and the ability to pay my mom's bill as well as be a better person in my community.
The college acceptance system is rigged.
Yes, it's rigged, and no, it's rigged. Because it depends. Let me explain. On one hand, people who get in, it's about who you know. And also race can be a major factor in it a lot of times, but also they just want your money at the end of the day. They don't care. Sometimes they don't care who's coming in. As long as they get you, they got that loan off you, it's a lot of money that's coming off you. So sometimes they care. I think it just matters on who can get what access in the school. Because at the end of the day, they're going to throw a lot of people in just to get the money off them. And then some people are just going to have more privilege because of who they are and who they know. So it's a little bit of both.
Big facts.
So I went to one of these events that the school that I was really strong about, just to learn more about the admission process. And my mom ran into one of these acquaintances she met from back in the day, and he had put all of his children through the school. And one of the things he told us was that the school made it super competitive to get in so that their acceptance rate looks like, 8%. But For transfers, it's much higher. Like that's the way into, I would argue, most of these schools if you don't have the proper grades, or maybe you can't afford it that year. There's back doors, and I'm just hearing that, I'm assuming there are more back doors.
My dream college when I was in high school was I really wanted to go to Georgia Tech. I started my college admissions process in West Virginia, and going and visiting the college counselor on Georgia Tech's campus, they were like, this is what you need to do, these are what you need to hit, this is how many APs you need to have. My junior year, my parents moved us to Tennessee, and I ended up applying to Georgia Tech from Tennessee, and I got denied. And I was heartbroken because I had met all of the stats that she had told me to meet. I ended up calling my admissions counselor at Georgia Tech because I developed a relationship with her, and I remember crying with her in the car and just being like, what happened? And she straight up told me that if you would have applied from West Virginia from your school, you would have gotten in. My name is Mehek, and I'm anti-college. When I first entered college, I thought that you had to have a college degree to be successful and to start your own business. And I met a bunch of people that had dropped out of college that were between the ages of 18 and 23. That was eye-opening to me because there were people that had raised millions of dollars to start their own companies, and they didn't have that college background. My mom has her master's, my dad is a doctor. So for me to turn around and say, hey, I actually don't even think I need 4 years of college, I think I can actually just go out and do things on my own. It was a big cultural shock for them.
I think about college as like what we said in terms of being a business. And I feel like all businesses are rigged to make as much money as they possibly can. The institute makes more money when students are out of state and paying out of state tuition. Knowing what we know about college acceptance, what would you all want to see? Like, there's no way that every person that wants to go to a particular college can go. So it's like they have to find some way to weed people out.
I think there needs to be more transparency overall with universities. Students really need to be like aware of like what they're going to college to do, who they are looking to learn from. I think will be beneficial. Can they learn from them once they get there?
We should stop telling kids that they should all go to college.
I don't think we should just flat out stop telling them. I think we should just at least encourage them to go. And if they don't go crazy about it.
Oh my God, that'd be dangerous. You know how many people who, oh my God, I gotta show my kids the pros and cons. If you go, there's a high chance you're gonna get a really good job. And if you don't go, there's a high chance you will just be stuck in the mediocrity of the labor force. But there's also a good chance that you can do something that most people have never achieved, but most people have never achieved it for a reason. So I want you to know what you're getting into on both sides of the spectrum. So, and then whatever choice you make, I'll support you 100% of the way.
Yeah, I think some kids, if they are really, really excelling in the school, then yeah, that you want to encourage that one. But you know, you'll always have that kid that just has no idea what they want to do, and that person shouldn't be pressured to go. Shouldn't even be encouraged to go. They need to just figure out something. But
or if their skills are not conducive to like
yeah,
a
exactly.
normal degree,
Exactly.
like go to trade school, learn a trade, and you'll make money. You know?
I think that we need to switch away from telling every single kid that you need to go to school. More like, hey, look, if you don't want to go to school, here are some other options.
Yeah, definitely like more career focused, more profession focused. Like especially in like some of our cases when we're expected to go to college and people don't care like what degree you have. That's a little bit of a red flag because you really need to be intentional about the choices you make.
College is no longer an indicator of future success. With the internet, with just all of this access to knowledge, you can create your own future outside of college. And I think it's really good for helping you move into career paths where like doctor, lawyer, where like you do need a higher education. I think other than that, I think it's a lot cheaper and it makes a lot more sense for people to find a trade school or to go to their local community college and just get the skills that they need to so that way they can start working.
I was gonna say, I definitely don't think that college is for everyone, but I think that most of the time when we hear conversations of people saying you should go to college, it's usually from people who did not go to college. It's like generic advice in terms of like, you should do something with your life. That's really what they're trying to tell you, and they just use college because I do think it is still an indicator of success. Like I know you said it's not, you know, statistically, you are more likely to make like $1 million more than an average high school graduate.
Okay, so the big question that everybody wants to know the answer to. Should you or should you not go to college? I think it's more of the situation that you're in. If you're in a situation where A, you can afford it, and B, you're affiliated enough to do well there, I say go. There's no point in not going. But if you're in a situation where A, you can't afford it, and B, the job you want to do it makes no sense to go, then don't go. It's all about who you are, your upbringing, and what tools you have and what your goals are. Like me personally, somebody who wants to do YouTube for a living, I don't necessarily need a college education. I could just learn on the internet, get advice from people who have done it before. I've been doing this for about 4 years. So I'm pretty sure I got a good grasp of what I'm doing at this point. But at the same time, I'm also in college to get my degree in computer aided design because I at least want a safety net. I want something that it's like, oh, YouTube didn't work. So I want to use my education, my degree to get a job because I need something to fall back on at the end of the day. I do want to say that if you can, like she said, go to a trade school or community college because if your job doesn't need education, at least have an education that will basically be there when the risk you take doesn't work out. And all right, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have not gotten to college yet, do you plan on going to college? And if you have been to college, was it worth it? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.